Heyo, Stoic here. Hey, welcome to the Bedrock Guide. Today we're going to be spending a lot of time doing some Raid Farm reviews. So yeah, I've taken a look at 7 different types of raid farms, and I just wanted to get a good idea of which one is going to be the best one, and hopefully this video will help you figure out which one's going to be working best for you. And don't worry, I spent some time on the 24 stacked one. All right, this first one is by Jumper, and maybe some other people have made this as well, but I didn't look too hard. This is actually a Java farm. So if you find yourself making this one or have it and you're wondering why it's not performing well, it's because it's really made for Java. And Jumper does a good job of saying if you're in Bedrock, it might not work very well. And he's right, because when you do start your raid, you have to go over to an outpost, get your bad omen, and the raid will start. But the raid might summon way out there, and they'll just hang out over there. They're not going to be drawn by the villager, so they're not going to fall into this like you would in Java. Now you could draw them in by having them chase you, and then they fall into the pit, and then you can safely kill them by going down into this pit and then taking care of business. But it's going to take a long time, maybe 10 plus minutes, because you're manually attacking this raid. And I was able to get, because of my looting 3 sword and this pit, I was able to get maybe just over 100 emeralds, maybe can't even remember. I wasn't too happy with this farm when I was doing it. It was a big grind. But anyways, yeah, so from an efficiency standpoint, it takes way too long to get this raid done. It's about 10 minutes or more. 1 out of 10. AFK-able cannot AFK, that's all manual. Emeralds, 1 out of 10. You're not really getting anything here. Buildability, it is so simple to make. So if you do not mind a good grind, you want to do the battles, this is a good farm for you. But overall, 3 out of 10. So yeah, thank you, Jumper, for being kind enough to say that this is not a Bedrock farm. So make sure you're reading your descriptions before you decide to make your farms. Okay, here's another one on YouTube that's very popular. Again, this is a Java farm, so don't catch yourself making this one. It is so deceptive because you want something really simple, but it's just not going to work very well for Bedrock. And this one was by Chapman Farms a long time ago. I think Laz1 EN Farms was able to make this one as well and recently, but it actually works a little bit better as far as like if you want to just grind things out. So you get your sword, they'll spawn, you go get your bad omen, you come over here, you've got a villager underneath this water, but this is Bedrock, so the raid is not drawn by that villager. So they're just going to kind of hang out. Once you're nearby, they'll chase you, so you can pull them in. In this case, a lot of times, all of the pillagers, vindicators, all of those guys would get killed by the Slav as well as the Ravager. But so I didn't get as many emeralds. Like I only got 15 during an entire raid because I only got a couple. Either they got burned up or they just didn't drop them. Even though I had looting 3, you have to chase down the witches and the evokers. So it can get a little chaotic. You need a nice big flat area. I even filled in part of this river. You can kind of see grass is still growing. But again, this is a Java farm. So if you find yourself building this one and you don't care about grinding it out, having fun doing the big attack scenes, go for it. But this one, efficiency, it's a 1. It's going to take a long time. Can't AFK, so 0 out of 10. 1 out of 10 for emeralds, barely getting anything. And buildability, it is a 10 out of 10 because it's really simple to make, and it's a nice little trap for these bad guys if you're willing to grind it out. So 3 out of 10 if you decide to do this in Bedrock. But again, this is not a Bedrock farm. But thank you, Chapman Farms, for making this one. It is just fun to see the differences between these 2 games. All right, our next one is by Oink Oink, and it's way up there. I'll go up there in a second, but you need to make sure you're near an outpost, and you get your bad omen effect, and then you have to fly up here, or climb a ladder, or scaffolding, or leaves. But they ask you to build it 150 blocks way up here, so I'm 100 or over 200 blocks above. Nothing's going to spawn other than that's up here. But you can see this is very petite farm. There's barely anything happening here, which is great because sometimes you just don't want to build a whole lot. There are some things to point out that are very big issues. When you get your villager up here, you don't want them to be right next to this wall because the Ravager will get it. You also want to make sure your bed is at least 2 blocks away from your villager, because your villager will sleep in it and then will get caught in the glass that was called out for it, or will get hopped over onto this hopper, and then you got a problem there as well. I should probably put something right there. So that can cause an issue. I had to build this wall out a little bit because things were getting stuck and breaking some of the leaves over here, because the Ravager hitbox was able to break the leaves that were over top of this glass, and raids could spawn out here. Not where we want them, but this is the farm. It's just a couple little hoppers and then a chest. So it's kind of slick. We're using this very slim opening. You can see the black line on the block above and the chest, and there's a spot in between that you can touch those back blocks. And that's where you're going to swing, and all your raids pop in here and you just take care of business. Very manual. So get your bad omen down there, fly up here, climb up here, and then wait for your raid, take care of business, and you can start collecting all your goodies. So a little bit of a platform I had to put in to make sure I was getting things. But yeah, make sure you change up how this villager is set up back here, or you're going to lose it and you're going to have to bring up a new one, which probably is not going to be fun for you. This is never for me. And anyways, from an efficiency standpoint, I gave it 6 out of 10. I mean, it takes about 4 minutes to take care of a raid, maybe a little bit longer. Then you also have to go back down here, wait for a captain to spawn so you can get your bad omen and bring it back up here. So it does take some time to complete everything. Emeralds, I got it. Give it a 6 out of 10 because manually doing things takes a little bit longer. And I got maybe between 500 and 600 emeralds per hour based off my testings. But buildability, 8 out of 10. This thing's simple to make. I mean, look at this super small box. Pretty good. Just gotta be careful. You cannot stand really close or you'll get hit by those Ravagers there. They've got a good hitbox. So anyways, yeah, overall 5 out of 10. I mean, this is a 10 out of 10 if you're going to be manually. That's what you want to do. You don't want big farms. This one's great. I think it's a good one to do. But if from an efficiency standpoint, it really kills you. So like a 5 out of 10 overall compared with our AFK ones. So yeah, thank you Oink Oink for making this one. I'm not sure if he originally made this one or if there were some credits that I missed. But yeah, I think it worked out pretty good. All right, here is another manual one. This one is by ProfePlaysMinecraft. I was glad I fell into this one. I think he's got a great channel, and you should definitely check it out. As you can see, this one actually uses a bubble column to bring up the spawns from the outpost, and you can get your bad omen right here. You don't have to fly down. You don't have to climb anywhere. You just got to get up here and just be ready to fight. And you can see our villager is right over here. I would honestly, next time I would make this one, get maybe a block or two away from the corner here, just in case this Ravager gets a little crazy. But it is far enough from the bed so you don't have to worry about it getting suffocated by anything, or these pillagers over here. These guys can't get you. You can be in survival. They'll draw their bows, but they can't shoot you. That's pretty sweet. But you get your bad omen, you come over here, everything will spawn on top of the magma blocks. Magma blocks will help kill these things. If you want to stay protected, it takes a little bit more time, but you can use both slabs over here and just kind of crouch and just take care of business, killing everything. If you want to have a little more visibility, you can use this trapdoor in order to do that, and you just collect everything right here. So I would say in an hour I was able to get about 500 emeralds, 500 to 600. It was really convenient in order to get your bad omen. It really depends on how often you can get these things to spawn. So if you've got multiple spawn points at your pillager outpost, you can get multiple ones coming up. But anyways, I like this one. Efficiency standpoint, I gave it a 6 out of 10. It is manual, which is probably the drawback. It can't AFK, which again is another drawback for me. But if I didn't care about that, I think this is one I would make, because I've got everything I need right up here on this platform. I'm not traveling everywhere. Emeralds, 6 out of 10. And then buildability, 8 out of 10. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on here. Magma cubes, no big deal. I mean, magma blocks, those aren't cubes. not anything too crazy going on here. So you're already going in the nether already at this point. So yeah, overall, 5 out of 10. I think the non-AFK thing is the big drawback here, but if I didn't care about that, this is the one I'd make. So yeah, pretty sweet. Thank you, ProfePlaysMinecraft. All right, this one's Silentwisperer version 6. Raid Farm. Yep. This farm has been updated a lot over the years, and I would say it's very, very important that you read all of his pinned comments, all of the comments of the commentators, all of from the community, and watch his additional videos too. He drops out a couple videos as well to help with this, and it really addresses some of the comments from the commentator from the community. And you can see that the villager is near the bed, but not next to it or on top of it, so it'll never get kind of trapped. And we have a kill chamber up here, which is pretty sweet. It utilizes some vertical lava, so when the ravagers come in, they get pulled up. They like to swim in the lava, so they move up and everything else can pass through, which helps kill things a little bit faster. This is AFK-able, so we do have a trident killer down here. If you are AFKing here, the evokers do not get killed fast enough, so I did get hit by their claw attack several times when I was over here, but I had enough health and good armor, so it wasn't an issue overall. You need to follow all of the, I can't say it enough, read the descriptions, the pinned comments. He added in all this stuff. This was important. One thing they didn't add, which ended up being a problem, was from the collection system, if your hopper is open, which it needs to be in order to collect things, the raids can spawn on them. So I recommend replacing it with, minecart with hopper with some leaves over top of it. That'll take care of that issue right there. But make sure everything is just leaved up for this farm. I don't know why it's a big deal for this one, but it was. But maybe because there's just fewer spots to spawn in, maybe that was the big issue. The other thing I would recommend is, which kind of was a problem, is this special trident that they've got made. Trident killer, it's a trapdoor one. Now the trident seems to, it has fallen now. It doesn't, you have to throw it perfectly for it to work, and you have to rethrow it each time you come in here because it just does not stay where it's supposed to. So put in a traditional trident killer. That's my only recommendation there. But you know what? Efficiency wise, 8 out of 10. This thing just rocks it. Does a really good job. Got to make all these little extra changes in order for it to work streamlined. It is AFK-able. 10 out of 10 for that one. Emeralds, we got an 8 out of 10 on this one because I was able to pull in about 1,000. It is advertised at 1,500. I can't get more than 13 raids an hour, and I'm not pulling in over 100 emeralds per raid. So I don't think that that emerald claim is true unless I'm messing something up or missing something. I just can't get that high. So I got about 1,000 each time I did it. So just be aware of that when you're moving forward. But from a buildability standpoint, we're looking at an 8 out of 10. This thing's pretty simple to make. There's nothing too complicated here. Just trident killer, the extra trident killer. That's a trapdoor one. That was kind of a pain. It is still a pain, so I would swap that out. But overall, I would give this one an 8.5 out of 10. A pretty good farm. It's really been doing a good job. Just make sure you do all the extra stuff you're supposed to based off of what Silent says. But thank you, Silentwisperer, for making this, and thank you for all of his community as well. I think they've helped develop this and help troubleshoot it. So he's got a strong community there. So great work. All right, flying in on JC Playz. Yep, everyone knows JC Playz, and he does make some good stuff out there. This one has really held up against the test of time. There aren't a whole lot of changes to this farm since he originally made it. I actually made this kill chamber a little bit taller because the Ravagers do have a bigger hitbox now, and they can break the leaves on top, which will screw up your farm because they're new spawn locations. But you can see this is the big kill chamber. Everything spawns in there. Ravagers get taken care of by the lava, and then we've got this trident killer, normal trident killer, right down here, taking care of business for all of the loot that we get. And you just yep, here's a regular trident killer down here. You get your Biot Omen down here, and then you get your raid up top. I would say it's a pretty reliable farm. I did have a friend saying that they had Vindicators killing them, so they must have missed a spawn point. But you just got to make sure that if you're doing your storage up here, like this really should have a leaf on it. Anything that's not leaves or scaffolding can spawn a raid, so make sure you've got something over top of it. One thing that it does not, another person had made that farm as well in my SMP, and they said that JC Playz does not address the multiple spawn points. So if you do have a outpost that has multiple spawn points, which it is possible, I think this one is facing south, sets in the west. Yeah, this one's facing south, so it only has one because of that doorway. But if it were facing other directions, there could be other spawn points, which could cause an issue for you. I don't know how it was causing an issue for the other people, but maybe they were climbing up the stairs and getting the AFK positions or something or another. But it was causing a problem for them. But if that's the only thing, I think you're just fine. This is a really good farm. Efficiency-wise, 8 out of 10. AFK-able, 10 out of 10. Emeralds, 8 out of 10. I was able to get about 1,000. Just because of how fast you can kill the raids, about 4.5 minutes, in order to get that raid going again. And then from a buildability standpoint, 8 out of 10. It's pretty good. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. A little bit bigger than the last one, I think. But yeah, this one got some snow here for some drama. And the other thing he doesn't talk about, make sure you got string up here. This is a good segue. If this thing builds up to a full block, you're going to have spawns on it. So make sure you got some string on this stuff. Boy, that was a really good segue. Thank you, JC Playz, for making this, and it has really held up against the test of time. It still works well, in my opinion. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. All right, so my community page said, hey, what about the 24 stack farm by Silentwisperer and Pico Nico? Well, here it is. I made it. This thing is a beast. It is just a massive, massive farm. In fact, I actually stopped. I'll be frank. I stopped after 7 villages because I was testing it, and I think I only have 6 like legit ones because the 7th one, I must have placed something wrong, and then the 8th one didn't want to work either. So I did test it, and it works with the 6 that are in place. Yeah, this thing is massive. It is very, very particular. You have to be precise. You have to find a pillager outpost that faces north, so that way you have 4 spawn points. You can see these 4 kill chambers right here for the bad omen. You've got some additional redstone going on. You've got rail systems. You've got bells and observers. You've got beds over here for a village. You've got workstations over there to stretch your villages into, I think, almost 100 blocks long. I think you can stretch it out pretty far. That might be the max. Yeah, this kill chamber is massive. I can't say it enough. Always read his pinned comments from Silentwisperer. He does a really amazing job about making sure everyone in the community is taken care of, and he will address things right away. Everyone provides great comments, so his community is just stellar in my opinion. But I had to make changes to this kill chamber because of the Ravager changes that were in 1.19.40, I believe. Ravagers got bigger, so they were knocking out the leaves. They were getting stuck in this glass. You had to raise up the glass or lower the water. I can't remember which one it was. I did find some problems with these tridents. This is just a piston trident killer. Just goes back and forth once it's triggered by some string down here. So these things, the pistons should be moving, but you can't tell because there's no tridents in there. But yeah, the tridents are disappearing. Now, that happens on occasion during updates, but let's see, from an efficiency standpoint, getting more than 1 village is going to up your rates significantly. So I've got 6 of them, and I was just rocking it out. This thing's advertised at 20,000. I'm going to believe them. 20,000 emeralds per hour. It's just crazy. It is just insane. But AFKable, yep, 10 out of 10. You can AFK. You can go through this little fun minecart ride here for it. Emeralds, 10 out of 10. Buildability, 1 out of 10. And I already mentioned some of it. You have to have so much infrastructure in place to do this. So you have to bring in 24 villages. So that means you're messing around with more than 24 villagers, because I can guarantee you're not going to do it perfect. You have to bring them in 100 blocks away. Nighttime's the best to get them to move, so you're going to walk your village with beds, and you get them over here. You can use, I think, JWatts05. I'll put a link in there for you. He found a way with some rails in order to make it work during the day, so that you don't have to if you got single player sleep, it's going to be tough. You can use rails in order to do things through the day, but it takes about 10 minutes to get a villager up here to get in the bed, and then you have to bring the other one back down and then take them another, golly, that's over 100 blocks as well to get over to that position. So to try to do all of that in 10 minutes is really tough and creative. To do it in survival would be even tougher. So you're going to spend a lot of time. Every 30 minutes, you need 2 night times to put in one village. And you only get 3 night times per hour. So it will take a long time. I think Timeless Traveler made it look easy with his time lapse. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing one. You should take a look at Timeless Traveler. Great video, honestly. Not enough credit for that guy. Crazy builds. But the other thing too is I mentioned that Pillager Outpost, it's got to be perfect. And the terrain has to be perfect too. This one was the closest I could get. Silentwisperer says take out all of this down 2 blocks below the entire Pillager Outpost. So if your Pillager Outpost is low, like mine, you have to dig out this entire mountain all the way down here, all of this over here. And it's kind of choppy because I'm rendering a whole bunch of stuff right now. But you can see there is just so much you have to clear out, and Timeless Traveler's time-lapse will show you what you have to do. You also have to get rid of all of these additional platforms. But so 1 out of 10 for buildability. This thing is a beast, just a beast, and it has to be precise. Everything has to be very, very precise. Placing your village in with beds and workstations and bells, you have to do it in the right order, or you will mess it up like I did. So if you're going to go big, do it right. Take your time. Take the maybe a week that it takes to make this thing. But overall, 7.75. Everything was awesome except for buildability. This thing's just huge. Just huge. You have to be perfect. But yeah, thank you, Silentwisperer, Pico Nico, for coming up with this. Silentwisperer for displaying it and showcasing it for everyone, telling us how to make it. But yeah, this one is just crazy cool. So if you go up to the challenge, do it. All right, so I'm back at the one that I would recommend. This one is JC Playz. Yep, this one is reliable, really holds up. Only a couple modifications needed. If you've already got it in your realm or server or single player world, you can make this thing work. Not a whole lot of changes from the video itself, so you don't have to worry about comments, pinned comments, additional videos in order for this thing to work well enough for your world. So 8.5, this one I would recommend if you're going to go AFK. If you want to do a manual one, I would do ProfePlaysMinecraft. This one is just straightforward. It is convenient from a get your sword out and take care of business kind of deal. Storage can be added onto pretty easily, and everything's right here for you when you're ready to do this manually. It takes a little bit longer, but I still like it, and it might work better for you in your world. But overall, I think all of these were great farms, great content creators. Thank you very much for all of their hard work, and you should check out every one of them. I'll have links for every one of those in my description as well. So yeah, thanks for joining me on this Bedrock guide review of Raid Farms. So thank you. Bye-bye.